Hello, and welcome to this episode of Flyby, presented by the National Model Aviation Museum. I'm your host, Claire, and today we will be continuing our Intro to Hobby 101 series with a discipline that cut the wires and put pilots in control. Radio control is a discipline of model aviation where the model aircraft is controlled during flight by radio signals sent between a transmitter on the ground to a receiver installed in the aircraft. The first radio control contest was held during the 1937 NATS. There were 6 entries that were judged on their radio equipment design and control during a ground review and on their flight abilities. The winner of the event was Chet Lanzo and his 1937 RC model. Third place was Elmer Wasman with his White Mystery. Fourth place went to Bill and Walter Good with the Big Guff. However, the Good brothers flew their model multiple times during the NATS competition week, not just during judging, and the Big Guff is now considered to be the first successful radio control model. Radio control remained a small part of model aviation throughout the 1940s because a ham radio license was required and the equipment often needed to be built from scratch. As the license requirement was dropped and as it became easier to purchase pre-built equipment in the 1950s, radio control gained in popularity. During the 1960s, access and education about radio components became more commonplace, and companies that sold manufactured radio equipment boomed. As such, radio control grew to become the most popular type of model aviation today. Radio control models have always been at the mercy of the radio control equipment. Early radio control models were large in order to carry the heavy radio equipment. The Good brothers' first receiver weighed in at 2 pounds. The first receivers were large, heavy metal boxes that stayed on the ground. Only a small box with the controller was held in the pilot's hand. These transmitters and receivers used vacuum tubes and were connected to actuators or rubber band-powered escapements that physically moved the part of the model under control. And there was only one part of the model under control, generally the rudder. As radio equipment got smaller, model wingspans were able to shrink too. And as our understanding of radio technology grew, more surfaces of the plane were able to be controlled during flight. Rudder, elevator, throttle, and ailerons all became possible. Eventually, it even became possible to control retractable landing gear, cockpit lights, and bomb bay doors. Today's equipment has now been digitized and operates on a spread spectrum band that scans for an open frequency rather than being locked onto one frequency only. Emerging radio control technology has opened the doors for pilots to operate much smaller crafts, such as miniature quadcopters or mini-quads. The smallest on the market being the Tiny Whoop, a design based off of Horizon Hobby's Inductrix model and pioneered by Jesse Perkins, weighing in at around 25 grams with a wingspan of around 65 millimeters. These quadcopters are generally flown FPV or first-person view using another part of the 5.8 GHz radio spectrum to deliver video images from a camera mounted on the craft back to a monitor or special goggles equipped with a video receiver. Radio control competitions are still actively flown today. Pilots can participate in competitions such as RC Aerobatics, where model airplanes compete in a pattern that demonstrates grace and control during flight. RC Combat, where model airplanes are pitted against each other in a contest of agility to knock off the opponent's streamer. RC Pylon, where model airplanes race around a course of 3 pylons for the fastest time. RC Scale Aerobatics, where model airplanes are scaled-down versions of full-scale aerobatic planes and compete while flying the same aerobatic patterns that full-scale aircraft fly. And RC Scale, where builders compete to replicate full-scale model aircraft in a scaled-down size. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Flyby. As always, please leave your questions, ideas, and suggestions in the comments section. Follow us on social media for updates on current projects, new donations, and behind-the-scenes historical air modeling information. We always appreciate your feedback. If you notice any discrepancies in the information provided or you have additional information, please email us at museum@modelaircraft.org.